Alright, so we're taking a walk through the woods this Sunday before they start logging tomorrow. Got me and Jackson and the Murph man over there. And I'm going to try to get you guys some before and after shots. You know, before and after the logging. So let's get down here and see what we can see. This area was logged already 2 years ago when they could get in here when it wasn't too wet. And we put a clover plot in there and established a little bit of bedding. And it worked out pretty well. The deer hitting the clover really well before they head out to the main food source. So that's been a pretty good killing plot. And so we're gonna cross the river here and get into where we're gonna put in the majority of the bedding.
On this one?
All right, so this is like the one side of the river where the neighbor has some pretty decent bedding that way. And they come off of that bedding, come down through the river, as you can see all the tracks. Then they head up into that little clover plot, and then our destination plot is just up that way. So we're really excited. We haven't had a really good bedding spot on this property since forever, since I was a kid. So we'll see how this all pans out. But as you can see, it's just wide open woods as far as you can see, and there's about 20 acres of woods here. And if we can utilize all this 20 acres into good prime bedding, I think we're going to be headed in the right direction. Here's a pretty good comparison of a property that was logged about 10 years ago. Wide open canopy, and then there's our woods that's, you know, 15, 20 years old that hasn't been logged, and just tons of canopy up there and no new growth regeneration. So once those loggers get in here, we're gonna cut trails and maybe do some hinge cutting depending if it needs it or not. $10 degrees and Murphy is loving it. All right, here's the area previously logged. We created some bedding that way, but we cleared out a pretty good area, and this is kind of our predestination food plot area. Just a mix of clover and brassicas, but the deer absolutely love it. We're real happy with it. So even though we have less than adequate bedding, this 2 acres of food plot has served it pretty well in this area. I mean, when it gets this cold, I think it's February 14th or 15th, and it gets this cold, you just attract every deer in the area if there's no food. And this was just some frigid forage. They're brassica mix, and they're hitting this real heavy right now. Alright, so there's another look at the frigid forage brassica mix, and this was just, I think I had a bag of ag beans and a bag of Real World, which I think next year I'm just going to do ag beans because the Real World they hold their leaves so long I can't, you know, overdress this with rye or anything else. So I think next year it's going to be just ag beans, and like I said, maybe brassicas or some rye, or you know, just adding something once the leaves fall off the beans to give them a little bit of green later on in the year. But you can tell they're hitting them, but there's still a lot of pods left. I think I have probably right around 20 deer in the area right now, so it's not getting hit with a ton of deer, but it's definitely serving its purpose, feeding the deer through the year. And then here's some screening I bought from Northwoods, and I believe this was their heavy duty screen, which really outlasted through the season. And as you can tell, just, you know, through the wet snows and heavy winds, it's starting to show a little wear, which now it's, you know, I'm not using it, so it doesn't really matter. But I was super impressed with that this year. But here's just kind of a, you know, run through this late season, some pre-logging videos. So once all this stuff gets done and they get done logging, I'm going to do another follow-up video, and maybe even some shed hunting videos here, and hopefully we can find some sheds in here. So, all right guys, we'll see you on the next one.